If fear is the only thing stopping us from achieving our dreams, and we only fear what we don't understand, then the antidote to fear is knowledge. All we have to do is find out who has the knowledge that we need to conquer our fears and achieve our entrepreneurial dreams. My name is Callum Walker, and welcome to the podcast that will help you figure it out and conquer this lonely entrepreneurial journey. Hello everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to part 2 of the Wim Hof expedition. I was going to call it a review, but yeah, we'll call it a review for the moment. But I originally had planned to do it like day by day, yeah? But that didn't transpire. So I've actually just got back. I got back yesterday from the retreat. And retreat expedition. And it's quite funny because this could not be any different of a scenery. I've just been in the north of Sweden, there's snow everywhere. Come back, fucking sun's out. And when I say sun's out, like, I'm walking around in a t-shirt, like, and I mean, I'm obviously gonna walk around in a t-shirt because, and I'll get to everything that we did over the next few episodes, but yeah, I climbed a mountain in nothing but shorts, no t-shirt. So coming to the UK and walking around in a t-shirt is like being in the desert. Really is quite bizarre. But yeah, so I'm back. The experience of the whole expedition, I'm going to share with you over the next few episodes. I've got no idea how many episodes it'll be, but I'm going to break it down specifically into almost kind of like the 3 main components of what we did during the expedition. And when you kind of think of Wim Hof, most people just look at it solely from the ice and the cold water, but that is just one component of what he's teaching. The breath work, if anything, is probably the most profound aspect of it. And also there's a third pillar. So he's got 3 pillars, yeah? He's got the cold, he's got the breath work, but then he also has like the mindset and the mentality aspect of it. And I'm gonna like put episodes together, these next 3 episodes together based on those 3 pillars around what we did and how using these can help you with your clients, but also like just the profound lessons that I learned from them as well. And I think to start with, I'm going to go straight to the obvious one, which is I'm going to start with the cold, not necessarily the breath. Now, if you don't know who Wim Hof is, like, you need to know who Wim Hof is because he's just the man, yeah? And when we're almost kind of looking at the cold, Wim's very famous for not just doing ice baths, but he's he's got some seriously impressive records in the cold. Like, he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in his shorts. He has the world record for the longest time in an ice bath. Which is like hours. And you have all these people who are like, don't stay in an ice bath for too long because you'll die. And this bloke's in it for hours. But also he's got another one, which is the longest swim under natural ice, which is pretty impressive. Say pretty impressive. It's insanely impressive. So in terms of the cold, we did like multiple different types of cold exposure. So this might sound a little bit interesting, but you look at it and you're like, what do you mean different types of cold exposure? Most people just look at cold exposure solely like as an ice bath. But we actually did like different types of cold, exposing ourselves to the cold. Obviously there was the ice bath. So day 1, we when we got there, we were put into groups and basically we hadn't met Wim yet. And we were put into groups and we walked down to a lake. And when I say a lake, like, it was frozen over completely. Like, we were like in the depths of the north of Sweden, and we were walking down there, and basically we were going to do some cold exposure, and it was so cool. Like, as we were walking through these like Swedish mountains, like, I mean, it was freezing cold. Sun was out, which was really nice, and it made a huge difference. But as I was walking towards the mountain, just started to hear this noise. I was like, what's this noise? And I was like, it's the banging of drums and someone's singing. But they weren't singing, they were like chanting. And as I kind of like got closer to it, I looked through the trees towards the lake, and I just saw this guy in a pair of shorts sitting there, banging a set of bongo drums, chanting. And it was just like, I don't know, immediately I was like, wow, like this is cool. And yeah, when we got to the lake, undressed into some shorts, and then we went into the ice. And this lake had been completely frozen over, but they'd carved a hole probably about 10 meters wide in the ice, and the water was like fully frozen and everything. I just started off like just go into the ice, and I can see Wim literally right in front of me playing his drums. I felt like, I don't know, just felt so, I'm going to refer to it as connected. Like I felt so connected to this thing. I felt very tribal and primitive. And if you haven't done cold exposure before, I definitely would just go back through the podcast, because I've done loads of episodes on cold water therapy. So just go through the podcast. I mentioned that this is actually primarily a podcast episode for my elite guys. But if you're listening to this on Figuring Out on my public podcast, you are receiving a special gift that is normally reserved for my paying clients. But if you are listening to this on Figuring It Out, I've gone through loads of episodes on cold exposure. But like as soon as you get in, like I think a couple of lessons around cold exposure that I don't even want to say helped me, but like are necessary for me, like to really, really ensure that I can safely, but also like effectively benefit from the cold. I think the first thing is that like, as you're going towards the cold, so I'm going to talk about it from like going into an ice bath. Like at first you might be really excited about going into an ice bath, but then as you almost kind of like near it and get closer to it, your mind will start to like talk to you, and you'll start to maybe get a bit scared, anxious, nervous, worried. Your mind will give you some alibis. And that naturally happens to me. And the first thing that helps me is that when that fear and that kind of like nervousness about doing some cold exposure like presents itself, I'm reminded of a quote from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, where he said, "It's already hard enough. Stop making it even harder yourself." And why is that? Like, how does that kind of help me? And what does that mean? It's already, like, cold exposure is hard. Like, it is. It's not designed to be, well, it's not designed, but it's not supposed to be easy. And it's already going to be hard enough. But you telling yourself, this is going to be hard, this is going to be hard, this is going to be hard, it's going to be cold, it's going to be cold, is not helping you or serving you in any way. So I think the first thing is that as you're stepping into it, you have to accept this is going to be fucking freezing. End of story. Like, it is. And it's kind of like a saying for me with my trail running. Like, if you're going to go running in the mud, don't moan when your feet get wet. So it's the same within the cold. Like, I think one of the biggest challenges is that, for me anyway, that when you, when you're about to go in, it is going to be 10 times colder at least than you could possibly think it's going to be. Like, end of story. It is going to be, however cold you think it's going to be, it's actually going to be even colder. And kind of accepting that helps, because I just know, I'm going and I'm like, look, this is not going to be easy. I'm not going to expect anything else. It's also not going to be warm and fuzzy. It's going to be really cold. And also I know that from doing it over and over again, you immediately get this immediate sort of like this gasp reflex. And knowing that that is completely normal will help you out. But as you like go in, it's really important that you really gather your breath, and you really kind of like keep yourself poised and calm, because the body's going to react and your brain's going to be like, oh my God, freaking out. And my instructor while I was over there, her name was Katya. She was fantastic. She was amazing. And she said, she was just like, but an interesting thing happens. You get into the ice, the body's freaking out. And as soon as you breathe and you relax and you take control, the brain then starts to go, oh my God, we're in like a life or death situation, which we are. But he or she is completely relaxed. That's amazing. And that's the most important thing, that when you get in, like, you just have to like relax. Like, relax and submit to it. Accept that it is cold. Like, it is freezing. It is. But the thing that helps me is a sentence in my mind, which I say, it is just sensation. That's all it is. It is just sensation. And that's all it is. When you think about it and you get in there, you feel the freezing cold nature of this. You feel it across your body, and it's hitting you and it's battering you. But it's just tingling on the skin. That's all it is. Like, it's just tingling. It's just a sensation. And knowing that it's just sensation really, really calms you. And I think that also just comes with experience. Like, the more and more you do it, the more and more you can override that initial fear. Like, I think the initial fear when you come to cold exposure, especially if you're doing it in like a natural place, because like if you're doing it in a bathtub or an ice bath, if it is getting too much or you're panicking that you could die, you can just get out. But if you're going into natural water, like, you can't immediately get out. You'd have to almost kind of like swim to another place or panic and climb and clamber out. And I think that the more and more you do it, the more and more you realize, like, I'm not going to die. Like, I am perfectly fine. Like, I'm all right. And that really helps you. And so, yeah, so like, you kind of get in there, gather your breath, and just knowing that you're going to be okay really helps you. And if anything, you almost can, I don't even want to say you almost, like, what happens is that the more you do it, and especially when it's brutally cold, you can really find peace in a brutal and challenging and difficult environment. And that is really what I get from it. Because if I look at like what I went into, like, there aren't really going to be any more physically brutal environments than what I went into. Especially the last one. Like the last ice bath we did. We went into, again, a frozen lake. The water can't get any colder. Like, it is absolutely frozen. And we went in there and we were, like, as a group, we were in there for a total of 10 minutes. Like, 10 minutes. And you're getting absolutely battered by the most brutal conditions. But you're calm and you're at peace. And that translates into so many other areas of your life where running a coaching business is incredibly challenging. Like, there are some brutal conditions, but being able to take a breath, stay calm, stay poised while the external environment is battering you, that's the ultimate skill. It really is. And it really kind of is the epitome of what Gordon Ramsay said when he was on the High Performance podcast. He said, never fear a storm, learn to dance in the rain. And that's exactly true. And that's what cold exposure and cold water therapy really, really does for you. Like, you are literally in a storm. You are being battered. And all you do is you take a breath and you're like, I'm okay. And I had some really kind of profound experiences doing the cold exposure, especially the last one. And I think this is also why I absolutely love Wim Hof. Why I love Wim Hof so much. Because I've been to loads of events and loads of kind of big things over the years. I went to Orlando a few years back and I had an amazing experience. But the person who was running the show, I could tell that as well as putting on a great show and a great event, there was an ulterior motive, which was, you're here because I want you to become a client. And of course, that's perfectly fine, like, you're running a business. But I just felt that, like, being at the event with Wim, like, one, I didn't get pitched anything. Like they briefly mentioned at one point, if you want to become a Wim Hof instructor, just get in touch. Like that was it. But him, the whole time, I could just see this man was just so happy that there were so many people utilizing what he discovered himself that had helped him out. And they're using this tool and it's helping them. He was just so happy that he refers to this, concept of, people just being strong, happy and healthy. And he was just so happy that there were so many people using these tools and techniques, literally displaying strength, happiness and health. And it was just amazing. It really, really was. And I just felt this guy really is just on a mission, and whatever financial benefit is not not for him to go and live a life of luxury. Like, it is clearly kind of poured into getting the message out there. And it was just, that inspired me immensely, because I was I went there myself with almost kind of like a question of where am I going? My business is doing really well from a financial point of view, but I just kind of felt like a little bit of a crossroads in my business. My business is doing really well financially, but just kind of losing a little bit of not necessarily losing, but almost kind of questioning, just where am I going with this whole thing? Where am I going? And I'll get to the breath work at a later date. But he was talking when I was doing the breath work, I went there with asking my question, where am I going? And I had multiple profound things kind of pop into my mind. I didn't have these huge revelations. But they were just quiet little seeds that kind of dropped into my mind. And really, if I almost kind of look at the real answer to, and this could really help you if you're almost kind of feeling that your own business is lacking meaning and purpose. Maybe you've been doing it for quite some time and it's starting to feel like a bit more of a grind, and it's almost kind of losing its spark and its excitement and enjoyment. This will really help. And it was what really came to me during my my second breathwork session on the expedition with Wim. And I was lying there and I had a scene from the Marvel film Doctor Strange come to my mind. I know, I'm doing breath work and Marvel pops in my head. And there was a scene where Doctor Strange is with his mentor, who was the Ancient One. And she goes, you've done all these amazing things, but you still have one thing left to learn. And he goes to her, he goes, well, what do I have to learn? She goes, it's not about you. It's not about you. And that's what hit me, because if I look at the most beautiful part of being on the expedition that I really got, it was the relationships and connections that I formed with the people there. And I realized that it's not about me. If I look at my business, I could earn more money, but my lifestyle really isn't going to change. I don't really kind of care for fancy clothes, fancy cars, all of those things. It just don't, I don't know. This isn't me saying oh, rich, money doesn't matter for me, but it's more I don't know, I remember Mo Gaudat saying with a car, no matter what car you're driving, within 3 seconds, you forget what you're driving because you're just driving. And I've really noticed that. It's the same with a watch. I'm I could have a fancy watch, but I mean, within 2 minutes, I'm just looking at it to see the time. So again, look at it, I go, right, growing the business solely for financial purposes, it does lack that meaning. Whereas when you can see your coaching business as more of a mission and, almost, I don't want to say a quest, but more around the purpose side of things, that's where it really kind of I don't know, can drive you. And it's what I really kind of got from the retreat, that it's not about me. It's not about me. And it really hit me specifically when we were doing our cold exposure on the final day. And we got to the final day and got into the ice. And I was with this lady, and she was so lovely. She was really, really nervous about it. And I was really nervous to begin with, actually, because I knew that, it was going to be longer. the first day that we went into the ice as well, like the sun was out, it was really, really nice. And like, it was almost kind of like, because it was, like it was really sunny, it was almost kind of pleasant, like going into the cold. So, and that's gonna sound a little bit strange, but like, it was always kind of pleasant because you're like cooling down. But what happened was that like the weather was like, it turned like, it was like -3. It was really dark and cloudy, and then like the wind was just bitter. And I just remember almost kind of like walking towards the lake and feeling quite nervous and anxious. The thing that really calmed my nerves, there were two things. The first thing was, as we were walking to the lake, I didn't know if Wim was going to be there that day. I didn't know if he was going to be there. And we were walking towards the lake, and I was getting a bit nervous, a little bit anxious about going into the cold. That's when I heard it. I heard the drums. I heard the drums going. And I just saw through him, like him playing on his drums. And it just calmed me. And the reason it calmed me was because real big thing I got from that weekend, not what the weekend, sorry, because it was a week, from the week, was just this sense of play. Take the intensity out of it. Like, I'm there getting all nervous and worried and anxious about it. And I'm walking towards the lake, and I just see a man playing his bongos with no top on in the ice, chanting. And I was like, take the intensity out of it, just play. And that really calmed me. And then the second part was, and again, I'm just going to kind of like rewind slightly, because during one of the Q&As, someone asked Wim, like, you know, around kind of consciousness, and it was more almost kind of like, what's the meaning of life? What do you think? In a way. And he basically said, like, I see the purpose of a human life to be in two stages. The first one is fill your own cup up. And then the second stage is, once your cup is filled, allow it to overflow and go and help others. And that's what really kind of hit me, because I'm all right. If I look at a lot of the breathwork kind of sessions that I did, there was a lot of people who had this, you know, this real kind of traumatic release. Like, they had a lot of trauma stored in their body and they released it. And I didn't get that. I actually just had real positive and beautiful emotions kind of come up. And again, I'll go into much more detail about the breathwork on the next part of this series. But I didn't have any of that negativity like kind of release me, because I've dealt with it. Like, my limiting beliefs, the challenges and the difficulties that I've experienced have caused me some real emotional, like, broken me at times. Like, I've dealt with it. And I realized, like, I'm all right. Like, I'm fine. Like, my cup is filled. And my purpose is now not to fill up my own cup more. My purpose is to share what I've learned to help fill up my cup with other people. And that's what brings me to what also helped me with the lady in the ice. And she was with me. I could see she was really nervous. She's in my group. She's so lovely. And like, she was getting really, really anxious and worried about it. And I just held her hand and I went, hey, I'm with you. It's all right. You're not doing this alone. I'm with you. Don't worry. And I just said to her, like, just remember, it's just sensation. And also, we can get out at any point. Okay? I'm going in there with you. And if at any point you want to get out, I will get out with you. Okay? So we go in together and we'll come out together. And just remember, it's just sensation. It's okay. And it was really bizarre, because I go into the ice, and this is the coldest I've ever been. The coldest I've ever been. And I went in there, and I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything at all. And the reason I didn't feel anything was because my sole focus was making sure she was all right. Because I knew myself, like, I can deal with the cold. I'm all right. Like, I've done this loads of times. Like, I've done it loads of times. I know it's cold, but she needs more help than I do right now. And my sole focus was just making sure she was okay while we were in there the whole time. I was like, you know, we kind of like huddled. And I was with her, and I was just like, just making sure she's right. And I didn't feel, like, I felt the cold, but I didn't feel anything. And I had a really, really interesting moment. And like, if you imagine, like, I'm in on a fucking lake, frozen lake. Wim Hof is 3 meters in front of me, directly in front of me, playing his drums. And he looked at me. He looked at me and he saw that I was in there. My sole focus was making sure she was all right and she was fine. And he looked at me with a look that almost said like, yes, that's the point. And it was very profound because I'm in a storm of like freezing cold water. I'm also in a legitimate storm. Like it was blowing a gale. It's like -3, freezing cold. And the thing that got me through to be able to be in the ice for 10 minutes was not fortitude and trying to like make sure I'm all right. It was actually making sure that someone else was all right. So for you, like, and it's a real lesson again, like Wim always says, like the cold is your teacher. And I learned some real lessons. And the big lesson I learned was when things are when shit hits the fan, when things are going to pot and you feel like the ultimate failure, forget about your own problems and go and help someone else solve their problems. Because during a period of time where things aren't working, when you feel like a failure, nothing is working whatsoever, your self-worth is going to be in the toilet. And you need something to remind yourself of why you are worthy. And the best way to do that is to be of service to someone. Go and help someone else who actually needs some help. And what happened is that, first of all, one, you're helping someone else out. And during that time, very similar to myself, because you're focused on helping someone else solve their problems, you forget about your own problems. But then secondly, what happens is you start to realize, I am useful. Like, I am useful. I can be useful. And I think that was a beautiful lesson that I learned from being in the cold. The only reason I was able to withstand an ice bath for 10 minutes in the cold was because I wasn't focusing on how the cold was impacting me. I was focusing how the cold was impacting her. And she sent me the most beautiful message this morning, actually. I'm not going to read it out because it's very deep and personal. And we spoke about some very deep and personal things afterwards. But she just, I know how much that meant to her and also like how much it meant to me. So, a lot of people will look at cold exposure solely through the lens of it being like a challenge to overcome and a hurdle. And it can serve as that, but it can also teach you so many other things. And the real thing I learned from cold exposure, on this time anyway, was really around the importance of other people, that it's not about you. And I mentioned at the start of this episode that there were multiple parts of cold exposure that we did. So we went into the water, but then also we climbed a mountain in our shorts. No top, no t-shirt, nothing. We just climbed a mountain in our shorts. And to start off with, it was actually really pleasant because like it was really sunny. Like it was cold, but it was really sunny and it was all right. But then as we got closer and closer to the top, started to get very cold. Sun went away, wind picked up, and it was hard. But again, I come back to the reason why I was able to we were able to do it with such ease. I was just talking to people. Like I met some amazing people there. And we were just having conversations and sharing and helping people, like helping each other solve our problems. And again, because I was just so focused on helping other people, I wasn't focused on helping myself. So I wasn't focused on like the challenge and the difficulty that I was experiencing. So yeah, the cold exposure was amazing. Like I loved it. And again, I look at it and I go, how often in my life am I going to be able to be 3 meters away from Wim Hof in a frozen lake in the mountains in Sweden? How cool is that? So part 2, I'm going to go through the breath work. I'm going to go through the breath and specifically again, I'm going to kind of talk about like what the breath work protocols are, but then also how you can use it for yourself, how you can use it for your clients, and also not just from a physical point of view, but if I look at it for myself, I had some real kind of emotional breakthroughs from the breath work. I'm going to share what those are. And if you're really kind of lacking in confidence at the moment, the next episode will really help you. So, as always, never forget, for every one of your clients, give you one new client, you've doubled your business. Have you got a client who isn't losing weight right now and you have absolutely no idea why? And maybe you're worrying that if nothing changes, they could drop off at any moment? Well, I've got a free nutrition masterclass for you where I reveal the secret nutrition strategy that guarantees that stuck client loses 2 to 4 pounds in the next 7 days without lowering their calories, upping their cardio, or even tracking macros. Click the link in the description to get access to the free Elite Nutrition Secrets masterclass and get your client moving in the right direction, stopping them dropping off today.